Okay, so I am not going crazy. I was doing everything right. It's just that apparently for the multi-line command to work for whatever reason, it needs an S, which I don't know if that's an issue with pandoc or maybe that's just with me. I forgot something. But so as you can see, we have a different font on the left side. So that's how we can set a font. So, and you gotta not use the Lua LaTeX typeset engine. You have to use something like Xe LaTeX or Lua LaTeX. So that's how to set the font. So now I'm gonna move on to LaTeX fragments. Now, this option is enabled by default, but when you are specifying the F flag for the from document format, you'll need to do +raw_LaTeX on after markdown. So for instance, actually, if we do a pandoc -f markdown, when you're specifying the from file format, if you want to enable a flag, you just do plus and then raw_LaTeX, which will allow you to print LaTeX fragments. This is enabled by default, so you don't need to worry about this. So anyway, so if you want to use raw LaTeX, so there's two ways you can do it. So you can either do it just to type it in. So I could do begin center for center formatting, and we could paste it at the end and do this as end center. So if we compile this, I think it actually needs, yeah, so now all of that text is in the center, aligned in the center. So you could do that. However, if you do specify a LaTeX fragment, you also have to realize that everything between the beginning and the end has to be formatted with LaTeX. So if we want something like italics here, if we compile it, as you can see, those asterisks do appear in the document. So you have to use something like, so for instance, we could, if we wanted emphasis, and in LaTeX that is the /emph keyword macro, I think it's macro. So if we do that, now as you can see, it is now italics. Of course, if you don't like this, there is a way you can do this, and that is the raw code. So if you wrap any code within the markdown code delimiter, which is backticks, then do open curly brace equals LaTeX, close curly brace, and actually I'm just gonna paste it in down here. So if we do this and we go back to that phrase that we were italicizing and put asterisks around it, and then we compile it, as you can see, now the asterisks do work to italicize what is in that document. So be wary of that. That was a issue that I encountered that I wasn't really prepared for, so it caught me by surprise. So when you're using a LaTeX fragment, everything between the begin to end tags or macros all has to be formatted in the LaTeX way, unless you do the code block inclusion syntax. So yeah, with raw LaTeX, we can also do single line commands like break. And so since that's just a single macro, it breaks the page. So we have this, then there's a page break, and now we have this. So you can also use one-liners like this. And so any type of formatting that can be stuck between a begin and end can be done in this way. So if we want, like, say, lists, right? So we can do it the markdown way, item 1, and then we can just paste it a few times and, you know, make this one 2, that 3, and that 4. You can also do it the LaTeX way, where you do begin and it was itemize, and we're just gonna paste this at the end and do end, and we can specify item, maybe make it something like, I don't know, something funny. Let's do a tilde. So, and actually we'll need to escape that. So item, we could say item 1, and then paste that a few times and do the same thing. So make this 2. And now if we compile it, as you can see, now we have the pandoc list and the actual LaTeX list. Now, be reminded, as like I said above, anything here has to be formatted the LaTeX way. So if you're doing something like an itemized list, you'll probably want to do that. So you can also do this with tables. Now, the way pandoc handles tables by default, and I'll just make a quick basic table. And we'll just do something like item, and make it look nice, and paste it a bit. So the way pandoc does tables is they have their own. Actually, we need to do this. So. And I'll just delete a few of the lines, put that there. So the way LaTeX does tables, and I'm not sure. Oh, sorry, you don't need that extra line there. So the way pandoc does tables is it does this kind of like vertical bar, which is nice. It looks nice, but sometimes you may want like a celled table. So I have a simple snippet that allows you to make a table. Is it like, maybe it's not working. Oh, I'm not smart. Table, and then we'll do something like 3 by 3. Yeah, there we go. So you can use LaTeX way of doing a tabular. So this in the top acts as kind of the cells. So we can specify spaces, and then I'll actually just yank all of the stuff from here, and then we want to replace pipes with and signs or ampersands on all occurrences. So, oh no, that's not what I want. There we go. And we want this, so we'll paste a few of that in, and we'll remove the weird previews. So now we can compile with this. Oh, it can't start with ampersands. And now we have a nice gridded table. So if we wanted to specify lines, we could do hline. If I could type again, hline, so we could put it in between all of the items. And if we compile it again, we also get those nice, so a nice celled table. And actually, to even add more, we could do something like, we could say center, paste, oh gosh, oops, looks like it begin center and end. And so now we have a nice celled table in the center of the document without the weird vertical line nonsense going on. So you can also do something like this with the syntax I was talking about above with the code blocks, but you can also do multi-line. So we can do LaTeX the same as we did here, just with a multi-line code block. And it will do the exact same thing. So if you maybe want to just have it here and not have to deal with weird formatting, or you've disabled raw fragments to prevent you from doing anything weird, you can do that as well. Always there, always available for you. So Because pandoc converts markdown to LaTeX, pandoc also takes advantage of a lot of the power LaTeX has with visualizing math. So down here, I have this little math equation right here. And I mean, we wrote it in plain text and like, it's okay. But we can make it look a lot nicer. So for any type of math in pandoc, if you wrap any part of the document around with $signs, you can set that as a math expression. So very similar to how you would do it in normal LaTeX. So as you can see, it's now in that fancy math font. So what we could say is you can also use math symbols like C dot, which is just that multiplication dot. So as you can see, now it's a fancy dot. So we could also do, another math symbol, a fraction. So we could do 1/2. And so if we compile that as well, we will get a nice fancy fraction. So that's how you just define one-liners or other things like that. LaTeX also has the macro, the macro called math, which allows you to just parse multi-line math. So I could say 1 + 1 = 2, not arg2, 2. And we could do something like frac of something like 3 times 2, not 3 times 3, 3 times 2 over 6 is equal to frac of something like 1 over 1. So we can compile that. I think has to do something here. Missing $sign. This should work. Maybe I just need to wrap it around in code, code block. You can do that here as well. Maybe I'm just gonna nuke these out because they're probably causing a problem. Oh, for whatever reason that was causing our issue, but so we can define that. As you can see, we have 3 times 2 over 6 equals 1 over 1. That is mathematically correct for once. So we can do something like that in LaTeX. There's also the macro called equation. I spelled that wrong. Equation. So we can compile that, and all the equation macro does is it does some pretty formatting for us. It centers it, makes it a bit bigger, and adds a number to it so we can reference it, which is a whole nother topic for later. So that is what you can do with LaTeX. For actually, to show off one more thing, we can do a header includes, and we could say use package. If I could type and a chemfig and go back down to the bottom and do begin oh no, not begin chemfig, chemfig, and we could specify something like a-1 and then b-7c, and we can compile that. And now we actually get something really cool. We get a little chemistry looking equation, molecular form from chemistry. I lost of words of what it actually is, but so you can use something in the header to define any extra LaTeX packages you have, like here for ChemFig. So anyway, that's a bit of an introduction to LaTeX fragments and metadata in a pandoc document. Now, there's a lot more you can do with this, and I'm only just really showing you the basics of it. But you can use this to put in raw LaTeX expressions within your document. So if you need something like fancier tables, or you want to stylize your lists in a way, or you need, math. If you're writing some academic paper that uses a lot of math, and you don't want to have to deal with LaTeX, well, this is one way you can at least minimize the amount of learning you have to do. So anyway, that was this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.